If you've been watching our channel, you know that we are one of the few channels out there who are still willing to speak out against the ever more dangerous and ever more powerful monopoly that is Amazon. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. After we have new information, after an investigation agency in France figured out and found out how Amazon was destroying millions of new items that it couldn't sell, with everything from TVs to kitchen equipment, books, nappies, all dumped, perfectly fresh, good to go items in the trash. Now, this is absolutely insane. There's an official comment from Amazon, but they're talking about literally destroying toys, kitchen equipment, flat screen TVs that they can't sell. Again, this is all done primarily for economic purposes, and we'll go into this specific video, the specific business practices that Amazon has that incentivizes these destructive actions that create more waste, more garbage on already an extremely land-filled planet that is pushed on by planned obsolescence. But this is crazy. The video from it, Jason, was filmed, of course, by French investigators, but it's daunting to see so many just freshly good items being thrown away when we know so many people are struggling in economic ways all throughout the world.
Jason.
Yeah, when I saw this, I was really surprised because you would think it would be more profitable for them to sell these on pallets and such. For instance, they take a lot of the returns in the States, they pallet them up, and then you buy it as is. So they'll say it has a $2,000 to $4,000 listing price. It'll go for $400 or $500, and usually people don't get them shipped. And that's one of the concerns, by the way, in this. So what we have is a bunch of inventory that other businesses weren't getting rid of. And instead of sending most of this stuff back to China, because guys, most of our goods are made in China, all right, and this is from Europe, they say, hey, it's better to destroy it. Now, again, I would think that they would sell it. Maybe there's a legal issue, but I think it's a real problem when you have things like popcorn makers and toys that are still being sold across the world at $40, $50, $100 and just destroying them outright. I mean, that's not good. I mean, talk about planned obsolescence, Luke. I'm pretty sure like someone's going to make popcorn again, and yet they're just going to destroy it.
I mean, the spokesperson here from Amazon is actually denying this, even though there's footage of this. They talk about how they donate to a child's charity. Meanwhile, there's toys being thrown out. This investigating agency in France literally had a drone follow the trucks to the landfill to make sure that Amazon was doing what they said that they weren't doing. And of course, a lot of this stuff could be given to a lot of people in need. And this policy, again, we need to understand here, it has disastrous consequences for the environment. Again, we're not big global warming fear mongers here, quite the opposite, actually. But when we look at the destruction that is being made by large corporations, it is astronomical to see the garbage patch in the Pacific Ocean, to see the trash dumped, and still this is somehow okay. I mean, again, a lot of this is explained predominantly by the business practices of Amazon. And it reads here in this article that usually when a seller comes to Amazon, they charge them 22 pounds. I think that's equivalent to around 27 American dollars for a meter space to store their products. But again, that leaps for the next 6 months to close to 430 pounds. And then after that, a year, 860 pounds. And they're going to a lot of these businesses and they're saying, well, we're going to charge you 17 pounds to return them, or 13p, which is like 15 cents to destroy them. And this, of course, is an official policy in Europe by Amazon that should be extremely, extremely concerning. And again, this agency confirmed it. They literally had a drone follow the Amazon trucks to the landfill where they threw out a lot of these unsold products. And again, they said, yeah, we donate to charity. The one specific spokesperson said that they donate to specifically Kind Direct, which is a nonprofit organization that distributes the goods. But there was a lot of toys in these videos just being completely thrown out. So again, we have to understand here, the sheer size and impact of Amazon is huge. I mean, this report talks about millions of items. When we look at Amazon, it's not just the digital place. We have to understand they have 300 fulfillment centers, which pretty much are the size of Walmart on steroids. People compared to the size of 10 football fields together of factories of products and goods, 300 of them, all around the world. You're talking about the devastating impact on that. Holy cow, I can only imagine the waste, the garbage, the lack of just destruction. And again, Jason, it's hard for me not to think that this is incentivized by, of course, economic numbers, with a company understanding, hey, if we just give stuff out, or we make it more available, or if we make it more cheaper, people are not going to buy the latest planned obsolescence trinket that's made from slave factory workers in China. That, I believe, is one of the bigger contributing factors here, in my own personal opinion. And it's a destructive one. It's a dangerous one. And it's one that really needs to be called out and spoken out against, Jason.
Yeah, again, you look at some of this stuff. I mean, look at that. That's $100 and probably $40, $50 Lego set, stacks of them. I mean, to not put that on the reseller market and just get rid of it, right? I get it. It's a plastic trinket. It's a toy. It doesn't really have that intrinsic value, but somebody be willing to pay half that on an eBay type market. Yeah, Amazon is just throwing this stuff out in the box. You would think that they would at least have like an individual auction department, but I guess that's not profitable enough. Listen,
well, Jason, just really quick, sorry to cut you off. I mean, if obviously they put all these products on the market, and the products are going to be a lot cheaper for what these producers want to sell them for, because again, the producer here is making the decision, but Amazon is incentivizing it by saying, hey, pay us a few cents, we'll delete it, we'll destroy it, we'll throw it in a landfill, or give us 17 pounds, which is like $23 to ship it back to you. What do you want to do? They're incentivizing, of course, the market to have less resources, and when the market has less resources, less products out there, products are valued more, which equals more profit. And I believe this is one of the reasons why we have to detest, decry, and call this out as much as we can, because this is very similar business practices to what happened with Standard Oil and Rockefeller. If we understand the Rockefeller oil barons that came up during the beginning of this country, during the kind of industrial revolution of this country, they came up because of unfair market practices, going into a specific area, buying up gas stations, buying up oil producers, and then selling oil under the market value. Of course, the competing business, which was across the street, would go out of business. And of course, as soon as the business would go out of business, they would sell it pennies on the dollars. The Rockefellers would come up, buy up their competitors, and then sell oil over the market price and gouge prices and get even more profit from it. I believe this is somewhat of an example of a parallel here of exactly that same kind of business practice here. Jason, what do you think?
Well, again, I think that there's some of that there, but I think just the bottom dollar of having to hire somebody, again, the storage space, think about it. The storage space does cost money. They're constantly getting more inventory in there. Perhaps they just don't feel that they can move it. Like I discussed, they already have a return pallet program. So that's the
in the
only
US,
thing.
but not in Europe.
Well, I think that they do have the electronic return pallet program. These aren't returns. These are basically like, say a company like Lego, which we just looked at Legos, right? They ship so many, and then there's a smaller amount that just didn't sell. It may not be profitable enough for either Lego to get them shipped back, right? Or Amazon to take them and then try to resell them on a market. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's a possibility. I do want to point out that now that, they have the Amazon Go service and that they are with Whole Foods, we found out that they had a 6-foot pile of unspoiled food recently in the Seattle landfill as well. Now, I know that this is often a practice of other places, such as, Walmart is huge, grocery stores around the country are huge, but this illustrates in a city like Seattle with the $15 minimum wage, with a real homeless problem, and with none of this food spoiled, it does show you, again, these people are way more concerned with profits than the public good. If they were concerned about the public good, remember, these are the corporations that don't pay any taxes, that are portrayed as so benevolent on the media, the Bezoses of the world. They're protecting us with the Washington Post. Give me a break. You know what I mean? And what are they doing? Well, they're not feeding the homeless. They're not feeding the poor. They easily could have done this with this lot of food. And I know that that's a slippery slope, but I think that this and the factory idea shows they are concerned with one thing. It is profit over people.
Well, of course, you look at their business and tax practices here in the United States, it is predominantly all made to benefit Bezos, to benefit the shareholders, and no one else. There's no other regard here. And when this corporation, this monolith monopoly, gets more power in their technocratic industry, they're going to be unstoppable if they're already not unstoppable already. There are, I mean, this is, I mean, again, I'm extremely worried about Amazon because of understanding what they're working on. They're working on artificial intelligence. They're working on encryption breaking technology to make sure that cryptocurrencies could be tracked by the government so the government knows everything. They worked on facial recognition, artificial intelligence systems that literally was sold to ICE and local police departments to track, trace, and database all of its citizens, which is a huge, dangerous concern. And again, just by this alone practice, which again, we could talk about the capitalistic aspects of this, and I believe that's worth kind of pondering about, because I would question the independent sovereignty of Amazon with all of the incentives that they get from government. But the public, just on this story alone, should be outraged without even me mentioning anything else before, because this is wasteful behavior and it's reckless, and it's a reckless disregard for the planet. We should be taking care of this earth. There's enough food being produced to help enough people. But again, this stupid, asinine, backwards thinking is creating a situation where, of course, people are, getting screwed over here. And again, Amazon in the United Kingdom in 2017 paid a tax bill of 7.4 million pounds, by the way, in 2017. In 2018, they paid half of that, 4.5 million. Now they're working on even paying less taxes, despite from 2017 to 2018, their profits tripling. Their profits tripled in the United Kingdom from 24 million to 72 million, nearly tripling, of course. But again, holy cow, this is a mega monopoly corporation with everything stacked in its favor, buying up Whole Foods, buying up newspapers, buying up and trying to, of course, even in the recent couple days, we reported how they're trying to become more influential and be more part of the advertising for the New York Times and BuzzFeed and other publications out there. And of course, as we know, when special interest is financing media, that media doesn't want to bite the hand that feeds it. That is always the story, and this is going to create a huge conundrum for us with already a big problem laid out in front of us with the vast amount of conflict of interest, with the vast amount of power that sadly is leaving a lot of people scared to even criticize this company, with many people saying, holy cow, if we criticize them, we're going to be screwed over in the future, since, of course, Amazon also gets very political, also decides to ban books, also decides what speech is okay and what speech is not. So there's a huge issue here that I believe is worth speaking about. And sadly, Jason, I don't know if you agree with me, I'm seeing less and less people do so.
Well, yeah, the only thing that I would add to all that is the fact that, Bezos also works with the CIA. He has a huge storage contract with them. He works arm in arm with the intelligence services in our government. Let that sink in.
And the Pentagon.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? He's the best. And I don't love talking about people's looks because, look at this ragged asshole right here, but he looks like a Bond villain. That being said, we do 4 videos across 2 platforms every single day. We are Change and News for a Change. Please subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, share this stuff on social media platforms while you still can, and be the change you want to see in the world.